Good night, everybody. So after a short hike on the beach and a little bit of fire in the Tel Aviv Jaffa beach, and so I returned here at about 7 p.m. and since then I try to continue with my endeavors. I will say that like that. So there are a few things that I need to speak about. First of all, regarding the fire today. So today the idea was to create like a big fire, bigger than until now, using using the wax made that already made, and which most of it already I didn't use until now. And I also added one like spoon of the Nero juice because I wanted to make like a bigger fire. But there was also Nero juice left from yesterday and the day before, and I've placed everything inside here in the big one. And after like about 15 minutes of burning, I shut it down because I needed to go get back home and to be here until 7, according to the order of the court. I'm under draconian limitations, like very fascist state. I can tell you that most of the material is still here. It's almost nothing was wasted. Today it's all here, as expected, because the fire was very strong, but it was not very, very strong. So and there was most of the material. And I know from the days until now that the amount that I made, even though it doesn't look much, but that's almost all the amount that I made. It's almost all here. So I knew that in order to actually burn all that, I need much more time, like at least an hour or more, or to create larger fire, which I don't know how to do. Perhaps the way to do it is to add more threads, actually, even though I put several ones because I wanted a big fire. But if to do it even bigger with even more threads, or perhaps I don't know, maybe incendiaries, like this one. I thought about adding it. Where is it? I don't see it now. Like the white stuff that is it's used to light like barbecues. The white bricks. I thought to add it so the fire will be like bigger, but I didn't have the time, because it was all very timed. Until I get to the beach, and I walked a little bit and found the place, and it was already late and started the fire, and I needed to get back home. And I was here about just 7:00, just in time. And so, but okay, we've learned that indeed this is very this matter. The wax, when it is left to be mixed, for the chemical interaction with the Neros, it becomes much more potent. Another issue, on the same subject, I've mentioned, the amount of energy that, you can only, the deuce is stored inside my body, and it was that was needed in order to create me. So, there is a question that can, reasonable people, not in Israel, because in Israel nobody gives a fuck, about anything at all, but, if I imagine that if I walked and lived in a normal state with people that are, not a child state, that is, everybody is like divine children and psychopathic children like Israel, and they don't care anything at all but nothing besides their next meal, literally. Like a normal country, that would have, perhaps people would have asked the question, wait, so are you like the Tower of all bombs? Tsar Bomba, how do like a huge atomic bomb just waiting to explode? Like, I mean, should be very, I mean, careful, and should we fear that you walk among us? So, I mean, the question is, of course, yes, but not because of that, not because of what I'm made of, but because of the people that sent me. I mean, they don't like the fact that you treat me as a slave, and they will just kill everyone. I mean, they will annihilate entire humanity, and it's already started, and they're not going to stop until I'm rescued from the Nazi prison, me and my daughters. And it's quite simple. I mean, but people just don't want to understand it. In Israel, nobody gives a fuck at all about nothing, and outside of Israel, people just like to talk. So yes, you should be worried, but not because who I am, but because I'm not alone. I mean, and it's rather stupid to think that I'm just one of my kind, and I created myself, like, I mean, ex nihilo. I did not create myself. I mean, you do understand it, right? I mean, you do understand that I am not God, that God is transcendental, and I mean, you have a concept of God, you know what God is. I mean, but even if you don't believe in God, I mean, how is it possible that I created myself? I'm not transcendental. I'm a material being. How is it possible that a material being created itself from nothing? So, I mean, yeah, you should be worried because humanity is at its last steps. So now, more to the question, like, so, okay, we get it, but again, what about you? I mean, are you going to explode any second and create another Chernobyl? So the real answer is that I don't know. And to be honest, I would have liked to say that maybe just to make you, I mean, to people, so people will, I mean, have more fear and will respect me more, because people treat me like shit, like in Israel, less than a dog, really. They actually their text dog at me. I literally like that. You would be amazed. Like, people, I mean, the outside of Israel, they will not believe like how people in Israel treat me. Like, the piece of shit, the literally the worst piece of living form that can exist. That's the fact. That's it. The way it is. Why, I don't know, but that's the way it is. Yes, even though so many of them depend on me for their own living, and they take my flesh for me literally, and they need me for their own living, and they know very well that, I mean, I am a product of a much superior civilization than their own. They see me as a foreigner, and they treat me like scum of theirs, and I mean, there is no end to the tortures. Yes. So, I mean, I would like to say that yes, I can explode every second, so I mean, be more careful. But in reality, and we will get to it in a minute to discuss the tortures that I'm subjected to. So I would like to say yes. So maybe they will stop the torture. Again, just in a minute, I will speak about exactly, I mean, what kind of tortures. But the truth, I mean, I want to stick to the facts. I mean, I want to if I say something, I want to, I mean, back it up with facts. And in reality, what the dangerous thing inside me is probably only the neos. I mean, it's a big thing. It's not only because they are, I mean, it's quite a big, I mean, it's quite a lot. I mean, the nanobots. Now, the nanobots, it should be said that I've already burned them in many experiments throughout the last 2 years. And many of it was recorded, and also a lot was published in social media. And even some of it was actually entered as a material for the trial for the custody trial. That, I mean, that they saw that I mean, the social workers, I mean, as you know, they vehemently claim that I'm insane. And one of their proofs is that I burned things. I mean, okay, so yeah, I burned. I mean, the nanobot juice, or simply the semen, with material like. Paper or wood or clay or sometimes bits of metal in many experiments that I've conducted throughout the last 2 years, and also with turpentine, which is very flammable, but the reaction was never, and I also cooked it in water, in steamed water several times, but the reaction was always I mean, I mean, like like what you would expect from the just normal semen of normal like Homo sapiens male that is, I mean, spread over any of those materials like paper or wood or whatever. I mean, nothing special happened. So it's only, I mean, it's only like showed like special properties with regards to its ability to burn once I placed it on the beeswax and left it like that for like a couple of hours or so, and then lighted in the so-called like the miracle experiment that there were like 3 of them on the window. If you follow me, you must remember that it was very exciting. And so and again we've seen that if several, I mean, during the last couple of days, I've done several experiments with several, I mean, similar experiments, and if I place like the Nero juice on the wax, I mean, and then immediately light it, it's you don't see much effect, or you see effect only like, I mean, after like 10 minutes or 20 minutes or so, and the effect is it definitely grows. I mean, when you let it like rest with I mean, when you let the chemical reaction between the wax and the Neros happen, like after a day or 2 days or 3 days, you can see that it's much more pronounced, and you can see that today. I mean, after like, I mean, this is actually a mixture, because I mean it contains a little bit of a spoon or half a spoon of nanobots that fresh from the box, like from the box I placed everything, so it didn't have much time to mix with it, but maybe a couple of hours, because I've done it like noon today. So yes, it had like 5 hours to mix. But there is also, I mean, most of the material that, I mean, was left from the day before that, because I mean, most of it wasn't burned like in the 2 last, like when I burned yesterday and the day before. So it had a lot of time to mix, and you can see that there was like a big fire in like 15 minutes, which is not something to be like, it's not something to be ashamed of, but I mean, almost nothing was, none of the material was actually spent. I mean, everything that they placed in the noon is still here. It's almost the same. So yeah, so you can see that, I mean, you can see that it is demonstrated really clearly that if you burn like in fire the nanobots, nothing really happens. I mean, they do not release their potential energy, and they have immense potential energy, but they do not release it. So it's just, I mean, so nothing happens. And again, I've done it many times, and it was recorded. And again, it's even like it's like placed like in the trial, like in the Catholic trial. So yeah. Because it's a proof that I'm insane. So because I have like I conduct experiment like that. Yeah, that's the state of Israel. It's not funny. They take my children from me because of this, because of those claims that made from social workers in Shoam. But I mean, so they do not release their potential energy when I mean, just you burn them. So for example, if I hope no one is going to do it, but if you like put me like on the stakes and burn me like alive or not alive, I don't know. I mean, my assumption is that, I mean, I will not burn much differently than like a human, like a regular person. Even though, I mean, if I were you, I wouldn't try that. But I mean, that's my guess, because we've seen that in order to release the potential energy, the Neros needs to have some time to mix with some kind of fuel. And the only fuel that, I mean, until now was, I mean, demonstrated to be very, I mean, good, I mean, to actually mix with Neros, I mean, to have very good reaction with the Neros is the beeswax. That's not to say that it's the only kind of fuel that they like. I mean, there's a whole lot. I mean, it opens like a whole new field of experimentation, which I'm not certain that I currently like want to enter, because I don't have like the means for that, because I'm arrested, and I'm in, I cannot do much like in this balcony. But yes, I mean, of course, I mean, it's only logical to actually try other kind of fuels. For example, I mean, we have these coals, like for barbecue coals that we have here on the balcony. It could be, I mean, interesting to try to mix them with the nanobot juice and to see how they burn it. Even though it's kind of thing that should, I mean, it takes some time because, I mean, coals require some time to burn. But I mean, yeah, it should be interesting. And of course, I mean, maybe gasoline as well, and maybe so turpentine is already been demonstrated to kill the nanobots, but it's a highly corrosive turpentine. So yeah, but I don't think that my assumption is that my estimation is that if I will mix them with coals, for example, there's nothing. I mean, it should be fine. I mean, nothing will happen to the nanobots, and perhaps we will do some kind of like an interesting reaction with the coal. And regarding gasoline, so I don't know. Actually, gasoline is not. Maybe it's not a good idea because I mean, it's not really usable outside a car because, I mean, it's like it requires the combustion engine for actually. I mean, and like so it's not. I will not have the proper tools very soon, but maybe spirits, I don't know, things like that, and could be interesting. I mean, beeswax is something that is very gentle. I mean, it's not corrosive at all, like, I mean, turpentine or gasoline or spirits, and so I can see why. I mean, it will be like nice for them to work with beeswax, but nobody says that it's the only thing that they can work with. Now, so I mean, what did I? So for the question is, am I like a nuclear bomb waiting to explode? I don't think so, because I think that in order for the nanobots to actually release their energy, they need to have a reaction with kind of a fuel, and they they enrich the fuel. They make the fuel much more energetic. But I don't think that in themselves they tend to quickly release the energy, because we've already tried it and nothing happens. Even though we tried it mostly by just lighting them, there are other ways to perhaps make them release their potential energy, which is not by lightning, but maybe, I don't know how, maybe some chemical reaction, or I don't know, pressure, or I don't know. There are tons of things that you can do to them, and you can do to me. So I don't think that, but I don't think that it's easy to actually create like an atomic bomb out of me, even though I don't think that it's a good idea to try, and I think that Israelis are pushing their limits, and in any case, and I will elaborate on that just in a minute, and that they should have been much more careful with how they handle me, just because, they don't know, what I'm made of. But in any case, this is all, editorial. This is all just, it's not really the issue. The real issue is that you should worry not from what I will do to you, or if I will explode to you in your own hands while you torture me, but you should be worried from what the people that actually sent me will do to you, which is a much more rational kind of worry that no one in Israel cares about at all, because it's a state that is made out of alligators. Okay, so what do I want to achieve from the fire experiment? Actually, not much. It was started by because I've seen that the experiment was very, very. The experiment with the lightning of the beeswax candles was very, very exciting, and I wanted to check. How much you could actually get out of it. And also to prove that those nanobots are actually extremely energetic in a way that they possess much more potential energy than you could have expected from such small creatures with such a small mass. And this is something that Again, I guess this is also breaks, I mean, many of the laws of physics and specifically particle physics. But I mean, we're used to that, right? I mean, we break the laws of physics every day. And if someone wants to ask, how do you know that their mass is very small? I mean, perhaps their mass is extremely big, like small black holes. So, I mean, because if it was true, my mass would have been very, very big, and it's not. I mean, I weigh a little bit more than I look, and I look like I weigh a lot, but I actually weigh even more than that. I mean, I don't look thin at all, and I actually weigh a little more than people, would expect. I mean, I don't remember when I was like less than 100 kilos. I mean, even when I was like in like in times in my life that I was like what I call like thin and actually like muscular, it was more than 100 kilos. Like in my most like jacked times, like as an adult, I was. Even then, I was more than, above the 100 kilograms. So yeah, I weighed a lot, and I weighed even more than I look, and I don't look. I look like I weighed little, but I mean, if I think that, I mean, if my body, I mean, was, I mean, made out of black holes, I mean, I should probably weigh like something like, I don't know, like, I don't know, 1,000,000 tons or something. So no, it's not the case. I'm not going to gain much more insight into the nature of the neurons from the fire experiment, even though they are very interesting. Because I don't have that. Again, I don't have the tools. I don't have the lab, and I don't have the tools, and I can only do very like. Old school experiments, like of alchemists of old age, which are, I mean, are interesting, but I mean, I'm afraid I reach a point that I don't have, like, I have no money and no tools, and I mean, I don't know how far can I go with just, I mean, barren stuff. But maybe a little bit, but not a lot. I mean, we will see. I mean, if perhaps this could help me, like with, I mean, with the agenda of creating stuff, like creating gold or creating like other elements, or maybe like creating like big sculptures, like relatively big sculptures. And of course, that's a very important direction, but in order for like the combustion experiment to actually aid on that direction, I mean, I would need either like more luck, I would say, and also like a little bit more theory, which I currently lack. I mean, sometimes it seems that I have like many theories, that even too much theories, but actually they always say Theo, I mean, when you venture in the dark like I do, when you know nothing and everything is new, and no one helps you, I mean, theories are extremely important, and it's better to have more theories and than you need, like, and to discard most of them than to be in shortage of theories. Because if you don't have like working theories, I mean, you find yourself like facing like, I mean, okay, so what do I do now? Okay, I mean, I can do like burn this or burn that, and write how long it took for this or that to actually burn. But I mean, when you don't have any theory, I mean, you just deal with all sorts of like data. I mean, and data is very boring, and it's not like you don't know where to go. So yeah, it's always better to at least in my kind of like research, it's better to have like many theories, and to that will be proven, most will be proven false, and they will just discard them. But I mean, at least they will help you like with direction of what to do next. Okay, so this video is long. I will cut it now, but before we go to sleep, I will create another video in which I will discuss how, I mean, the many like many methods of torture that the Israelis use on me, and probably on other victims as well.